Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. Every habit you nurture today becomes the foundation of your tomorrow. If you've ever wondered why some people rise while others stay stuck, the answer is simple. It's not luck, it's mindset. And mindset is shaped by habits. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 positive habits that will rewire your thinking, fuel your growth, and lead you to a life you never thought possible. Imagine the very first thought that enters your mind in the morning. For most people, it's a random collection of yesterday's worries, today's tasks, or some vague sense of obligation. They wake up and immediately start reacting to life instead of directing it. And that, right there, is why so many people feel stuck, because their mindset is set on autopilot. The truth is, the first few moments after you wake up are the most powerful moments of your day. They are the fertile ground where either weeds or flowers will grow. Whatever thought you allow to dominate your mind at that moment will dictate your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately, your results for the entire day. When you wake up with no intention, the world takes control of your mind. The news, social media, other people's opinions, they all rush in to claim the mental real estate you abandoned. But if you start your day with a dominant thought, a thought that's aligned with your purpose, your vision, your highest self, you begin to take command of your inner world. And the person who controls their inner world will eventually control their outer world. This is not just philosophy, it's psychology. The human brain operates on patterns. What you repeatedly think about becomes what your subconscious accepts as reality. And here's the secret most people miss: your subconscious mind is most impressionable in the moments right after you wake up. That's when the guard is down and suggestions go straight in. If you allow fear or doubt to creep in during that window, you're programming yourself for defeat before you've even brushed your teeth. But if you feed your mind with intention, you're programming yourself for greatness. So how do you do this? Before you even leave your bed, choose one clear, powerful thought to dominate your mind. It could be an affirmation, a goal stated as if it's already real, or a mental picture of the life you're building. Say it, see it, feel it. Make it so vivid that your mind can't ignore it. When you do this consistently, you'll notice something remarkable. Your actions start aligning with that thought. Opportunities that once seemed invisible start appearing. Your confidence grows. Your decisions become sharper because your mind is anchored to a clear direction. If you control the first thought of your day, you control the course of your life. And the truth is simple: if you don't choose it, someone else will. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the life you truly desire. Not the life you think you can afford, not the life others have told you is possible, but the life you would choose if there were no limits. How clear is that image? How often do you see it? Most people never take the time to visualize their success, and because of that, they live as prisoners of circumstance instead of architects of their future. The mind cannot move toward a target it cannot see. Clarity is power, and visualization is the tool that gives shape to clarity. When you affirm and visualize your success daily, you're not just daydreaming. You are programming the deepest layers of your subconscious mind, and here's what makes that so powerful. The subconscious doesn't differentiate between imagination and reality. When you repeatedly picture yourself achieving your goals, feeling the emotions of victory, and experiencing the rewards, your mind begins to treat it as a lived experience. It adjusts your beliefs, your confidence, and even your behavior to match that vision. That's why athletes rehearse their performance mentally before stepping onto the field. They understand that the mind performs best when it has already been there. But here's where most people go wrong. They make affirmations they don't believe, and they visualize outcomes they never feel. It becomes a hollow ritual, a mechanical exercise with no emotional charge. The real power lies in belief combined with repetition. When you speak an affirmation, speak it as though it's already your reality. Say it with conviction. Visualize it until you feel the excitement in your chest, the sense of certainty in your bones. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the impression. And the deeper the impression, the faster it manifests into tangible results. Science backs this up. Neural pathways strengthen with repetition. The more you visualize and experience, the more your brain wires itself to make that experience familiar. And what's familiar becomes comfortable, and what's comfortable becomes natural. This is how confidence is built, not by waiting for success to come, but by living it in your mind until it feels inevitable. So make it a habit every single day before the noise of the world intrudes. Affirm who you are becoming and see it so vividly that doubt has no room to breathe. Because if you can't see it in your mind, you will never hold it in your hand. If there is one truth that determines the trajectory of your life more than anything else, it's this: you become like the environment you immerse yourself in. Most people underestimate just how deeply they are influenced by the spaces they occupy and the people they associate with. They believe they are in full control of their thoughts and decisions, but in reality, much of what they think, feel, and choose is shaped by their surroundings. Your environment is like soil and you are the seed. Even the best seed cannot thrive in poisoned soil. Think about it: the conversations you hear, the attitudes you absorb, the energy you feel from those around you. These things are constantly programming your mind. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and small thinking, you will unconsciously adapt to that standard. On the other hand, if you place yourself in an environment of ambition, optimism, and purpose, those qualities will seep into your subconscious and influence every decision you make. It's not magic, it's psychology. The mind is a social organ. It mirrors what it sees repeatedly. That's why guarding your environment is not a luxury. It's a necessity for anyone serious about growth. You cannot fill your mind with toxic words and expect to live an inspired life. You cannot keep the company of people who settle for mediocrity and expect to reach excellence. You will rise or fall to the level of the environment you tolerate. So, what does this mean in practical terms? It means becoming intentional about what you allow in. It means filtering your inputs as carefully as you would guard your health. Choose friends who challenge you to think bigger. Consume content that expands your perspective. Spend time in spaces that make you feel alive and motivated. This is not about cutting everyone out, it's about prioritizing your mental ecosystem. Because your mind cannot produce extraordinary results if it is constantly fed ordinary ideas. The truth is simple: success is not created in isolation. It grows in environments that nurture it. If you want to rewire your mindset for greatness, start by replanting yourself in soil that supports growth. Because no matter how strong your will is, your environment will always win in the long run. Most people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment to act. They wait for the right conditions, the right connections, the right amount of confidence. And while they wait, time moves on, opportunities pass, and their dreams fade into excuses. The truth is, indecision is the silent killer of progress. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It erodes your potential one delayed choice at a time. Every day you hesitate, you strengthen the habit of inaction. There is a reason why the most successful individuals seem unstoppable. They have trained themselves to act decisively. They understand that clarity is rarely absolute. Conditions are never perfect. You will never have every answer before you begin. But that's not a reason to stand still. It's the very reason to move. Because movement creates clarity. The path only reveals itself when you start walking. This habit of decisive action is more than just doing something. It's about doing the right thing quickly and confidently. It requires trust. Trust in your judgment, trust in your ability to adapt, and trust in the process of life itself. Fear will whisper that you might fail, but here's the reality: failure is temporary, hesitation is permanent. You can recover from a wrong decision, you can't recover from the decision you never made. And here's what most people don't realize: every decisive action, no matter how small, compounds. It builds momentum, and momentum is the greatest force in achievement. When you act, you send a signal to your mind that you are in control. That signal reinforces your confidence, which fuels more action, which creates better results. Before you know it, you've built a cycle of progress that others mistake for luck. So make it a daily discipline to take at least one bold step toward your vision. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's imperfect, take it. Because action beats perfection every single time. Waiting for certainty is like waiting for the wind to stop before you set sail. You'll be waiting forever. The question you should ask yourself today is simple. What decision have I been delaying that could change my life if I made it right now? Answer it. Act on it. Because hesitation steals time, and time is the one thing you can never get back. Gratitude is one of the most underestimated forces in the world. People talk about it as if it's a pleasant moral gesture, something you do to appear humble or polite. But in reality, gratitude is a profound psychological tool, a rewiring mechanism that shifts the entire structure of your thinking. When you truly practice gratitude, you're not just saying, "Thank you." You are training your mind to focus on abundance rather than scarcity, on possibilities rather than limitations. And that simple shift changes everything. Here's why it matters. The human brain is wired for survival, not happiness. Left on its own, it looks for threats, problems, and gaps. It's constantly scanning for what's missing. And if you don't interrupt that pattern, you'll spend your entire life in a state of lack, even when you have more than enough. Gratitude breaks that cycle. When you deliberately focus on what you already have, you disrupt the default setting of dissatisfaction and replace it with awareness of value. And the moment you become aware of value, your perception of life transforms. But this isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's a habit that reshapes your reality. When you practice gratitude consistently, you prime your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You become more creative, more resourceful, and more confident because your attention is anchored to what's working, not what's failing. And from a philosophical standpoint, gratitude aligns you with one of the most powerful principles in existence. What you focus on expands. When you focus on what you appreciate, life gives you more to appreciate. The most successful people I've observed have this in common. They are deeply grateful, not because everything is perfect, but because they understand that appreciation is a magnet for abundance. They find reasons to give thanks in advance for the things they're working toward, because in doing so, they condition their mind to expect success. So here's what I want you to do every single day. Take a moment to acknowledge what you're grateful for, not casually, but deliberately. Feel it. Let that feeling anchor you before you move into your day, because gratitude isn't weakness, it's strength. It's a declaration that you already live in abundance, and abundance always attracts more. The question to carry with you is simple. Are you counting problems, or are you counting blessings? Because whichever one you count will multiply. The quality of your mind depends on the quality of what you feed it. Yet most people treat their minds casually, as if they can expose themselves to any idea, any conversation, any stream of content without consequence. But here's the truth. Your mind is like fertile soil, and every word, every image, every thought you allow in is a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into beliefs, and those beliefs shape your decisions, your behavior, and ultimately your destiny. If you want to transform your life, you must first transform the diet of your mind. Consider how much energy you spend feeding your body with care, selecting the right foods, avoiding what's harmful, trying to stay healthy. Now ask yourself, do you apply that same discipline to your mental diet? Most people don't. They consume negativity without resistance. Hours of news filled with fear, conversations full of complaints, entertainment that glorifies chaos, and then wonder why they feel anxious, doubtful, or uninspired. The mind cannot produce greatness if it's constantly absorbing garbage. The most successful individuals understand this deeply. They know that what enters the mind shapes what exits as results. That's why they are intentional. They read books that stretch their thinking, listen to ideas that challenge them, and surround themselves with voices that inspire progress rather than stagnation. They don't leave their mental state to chance. They curate it with precision. Feeding your mind with growth material is not about occasional bursts of motivation. It's about consistent conditioning. Just like you can't go to the gym once and expect lifelong strength, you can't read one book or listen to one inspiring talk and expect a permanent shift. It's a daily practice. Even 15 minutes of focused learning every day compounds over time into expertise, clarity, and confidence. So the question is not whether your mind is being fed, it is. The question is, what are you feeding it? Because whatever you consume repeatedly becomes the blueprint for your thoughts, and your thoughts are the architects of your reality. If you truly want to rewire your mindset, start by curating your mental menu. Choose knowledge over noise, wisdom over distraction, and empowerment over fear. Remember this, your mind is your greatest asset, but only if you train it. Otherwise, it becomes your greatest liability.